If you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or honestly just a professional who constantly feels the weight of the world on your shoulders, if you're exhausted, battling burnout, and wondering when you'll finally feel like you've done enough, go ahead and pull up a chair. Today, I'm stepping in as your mentor to help guide you away from that chronic stress and toward a place of really profound professional peace. We're going to explore a fascinating paradigm shift from our source material today, a concept known as the divine economics of risk and abundance. Let's dive in and see how these timeless principles can completely redefine your relationship with success.
Modern hustle culture constantly tells us that if we aren't panicking, if we aren't working ourselves into the ground, well, we just don't want it badly enough. But the source text we're analyzing today completely dismantles that idea. We tell ourselves we're just being highly ambitious, but the reality, we're usually operating from a place of deep, hidden fear. We are absolutely terrified of falling behind. What we casually call hard work is, a lot of the time, nothing more than anxiety dressed up in a tailored business suit. Consider the stark contrast between a hustle driven by fear and work driven by excellence. One is frantic, exhausting, and pretty much built entirely on the fear of missing out. The other is calm, grounded, and incredibly deliberate. Think of it like this. A fear-driven hustle is literally like frantically bailing water out of a sinking boat in a storm. But work driven by excellence, that's calmly and purposefully steering a well-built ship. The shift we're exploring today is all about leaving behind that toxic fear-based competition and stepping into a state of calm excellence. And that brings us directly to the illusion of scarcity in business. Because when we operate from a place of panic, we start making terrible, short-sighted decisions. We compete out of sheer fear. Think about the founder who slashes their prices way below cost just to steal a client, right? They end up bleeding their own company dry because they're convinced there just isn't enough success to go around. Or the executive who ignores their own ethics just to close a massive deal. Our text points out that they are literally compromising their soul to chase what was already destined for them. It completely drains our energy and our integrity.
Okay, so let's move into our first core concept. Section 1, defining rizq or holistic wealth. The Arabic word rizq fundamentally changes our entire understanding of provision. For most of us, when we think of wealth, our eyes go straight to the bank account. But the source text defines rizq as absolutely everything that is provided to you. Yes, for sure, it includes money, but it's also your physical health, it's your relationships, it's your knowledge, your peace of mind, and your time. It's the whole shebang. I mean, if you have $1 million but you suffer a stress-induced breakdown at age 40 and have zero time for your family, you do not have abundance. Expanding our definition of wealth from just a purely financial metric to this holistic life approach, it fundamentally changes how we view our entire existence. To truly grasp this, the text highlights a really timeless theological guarantee from the Quran. There is no moving creature on earth except that its provision is upon Allah. The absolutely crucial point here is the absolute nature of this promise. Notice it doesn't say provision is only guaranteed for the most connected people or the ones who hustle 80 hours a week without sleeping. It says every single moving creature. The abundance is assured. For a stressed entrepreneur, realizing that the basic baseline of your survival and provision is cosmically guaranteed, that is a massive, immediate weight off the shoulders. Actually, think about this profound idea for a second. Your provision was written before you even had a skill, before you launched your business, before you mapped out your brilliant 5-year strategy on a whiteboard. I want to reassure you right now, your core needs and provisions were secured far before you ever started stressing over your daily, weekly, or quarterly business outcomes. You are provided for. Which brings us nicely to section 2, breaking the scarcity mindset. So you might be wondering, if everything is already provided and our holistic wealth is guaranteed, why do we still experience so much anxiety and fear in our daily lives? Well, because scarcity isn't always about what you physically possess. It's deeply tied to what you believe. You can have a perfectly full bank account, massive revenue, great profit margins, and still operate from a mindset of absolute lack and desperation. The source material argues that this is the real poverty. True poverty is a state of mind, an internal metric of fear, rather than what's reflected on a balance sheet. We have to differentiate this profound concept from your typical empty self help cliches, right? The abundance mindset taught here is not just about standing in front of a mirror, practicing positive thinking, or forcing a fake smile when you're incredibly stressed. It's an unshakable foundation of certainty. It's rooted in absolute certainty about a divine promise. When faith shifts your business outcomes from fear to certainty, you no longer have to fake your confidence. You just simply trust the system.
All right, let's get practical. Section 3, 3 steps to divine abundance. Let's shift into some actionable advice, looking at daily habits based on these ethical traditions for some immediate stress reduction. We're looking at 3 specific doors to abundance, presented as powerful economic principles backed by a divine guarantee. Step 1 is tawakkul. This means trusting completely while still taking action. You still do the hard work, but you trust the ultimate outcome. Step 2 is gratitude. In this framework, being genuinely thankful is directly linked to an increase in provision. And step 3, which might sound counterintuitive on a spreadsheet, is giving. On paper, giving feels like a loss. But in the divine economics of Rizq, sharing your wealth and time is actually the absolute fastest path to unlocking true abundance. This strict separation of duties is honestly the ultimate relief valve for the modern entrepreneur. The outcome belongs to God, the effort belongs to you. You do not have to control the results. I mean, think of how much daily anxiety comes from trying to force an outcome that is completely out of your hands. Your only job is to perform your daily work with absolute excellence. Let go of the fear of missing out, let go of micromanaging the universe, and just focus on doing your excellent work today.
And that leads perfectly into our final concept. Section 4, peace as a competitive advantage. When you truly internalize this mental shift, when you actually move from scarcity to divine trust, it completely transforms your daily business decisions and how you interact with the marketplace. Think of a leader who actually embodies this. The CEO who refuses to undercut their prices out of fear because they know their value and they know their provision is secure. While the founder who steps out of a toxic competition and actually hands a project to a competitor simply because they know it's a better fit. When a lucrative but unethical deal crosses their desk, they walk away with total ease. They choose gratitude over competition, knowing that what is truly theirs will always, always find them.
This brings us to the core realization of this entire explainer, a real game changer. Peace is a competitive advantage that absolutely no one can copy. Think about it. Your competitors can copy your product features, they can steal your marketing strategy, they can even try to poach your best team members. But there is no way they can copy your peace. The world simply cannot stop a grounded, trusting professional who operates from a place of unshakable peace rather than frantic exhaustion.
We have covered a lot of ground today, shifting from a fear-based hustle to calm, divine trust. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What shifts in your business or your life when you stop chasing and you start trusting? I challenge you to reflect on your own personal journey from scarcity to trust. How would your work look tomorrow morning if you truly believed your holistic wealth was already secured? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take this question, sit with it, and let it transform the way you do business.